I can't believe it does that. I checked. I really did check. Right before I checked the speed. We are at 1.25 like we should be. We are still with Dr. I can't remember his name, and this is just his first name. I have no chance of knowing his last name. Nope. It's alright, don't worry. They're gonna say his name any second now. That guy, Dr. L. From now on, he's Dr. L because I like easy. So, oh, that means I have to take my daughter to work very, very soon. And while I'm out, I'm gonna pick up a helicopter. Here we go. June 8th, part 1. On a break. Oh good, another board. I wanted to see another board this morning. That's all I wanted. Dr. La, yes. Lachmano, Luck.
To the entry that reflected B24 and B23, the sharp force injury that was to the
Audio's on now.
head area of Nicole Brown Simpson, referring to the one that is seen in both of those photographs.
This is the last time this is going to happen, guys. The last time. This is never going to happen again. Never.
Reflect that Dr. Golden had described it in the diagram in one fashion.
Yes.
But the dictation had it in a different form,
Yes.
and the addendum then corrected it to reflect what the diagram actually showed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Doctor, did you review testimony given by Dr. Golden at a preliminary hearing in this case, in which he was asked questions about the dimensions of that particular injury?
Yes.
And inviting court and counsel, if you all want to crowd around, I have it here, to page 70 of the preliminary hearing transcript. Beginning at line 7 and going through line 18. Doctor, did you review the following testimony? Question. Now, Dr. Golden, there were 2 other wounds you observed with regard to Nicole Brown Simpson's scalp. Is that correct? Answer, yes. There was a cutting wound or stab wound superficially right in the posterior parietal, in other words, lower down here on the right side of the lower scalp. This was a 1 1/2 inch in length superficial wound, only going in 3/8 inch to 1 1/2 inches, a non-fatal wound. And there was a small amount of hemorrhage associated.
Non-fatal,
again,
but
that occurred
probably
before death.
painful.
It was an ante-mortem injury. Doctor, did you review that testimony?
Yes, I did.
Is there an error in that testimony, in your opinion?
Yes.
What is the error?
He used the same information which was in the protocol when he gave the testimony.
And when you say the same information, specifically which information, Doctor?
Page 6, item 6.
The dimensions?
Yes.
And you testified yesterday those dimensions were not the actual dimensions, is that correct?
Yes.
And I believe you then testified that the addendum report contains the actual correct dimensions with the change.
Yes.
Now, does this mistake in Dr. Golden's testimony affect in any way your ability to answer any of the big ticket questions that you've reviewed?
No.
Now I think we're back to the report.
All right, you're going back to 355.
Correct, Your Honor. One last question about the back of the right hand shown in B1. Doctor, is there any significance to you in the fact that you observed only one 1/16 inch punctate abrasion at the base of the index finger in the area of the back of the right hand?
Yes.
What is the significance of that observation?
The same reason I gave yesterday, that there seems to be a paucity of defense wounds in the hands of Ms. Nicole Brown Simpson, which would again support my opinion that she was rapidly incapacitated or incapable of resistance when she was assaulted.
Now, Doctor, I want to take your attention back to June 13th, the first day that you saw the body of Nicole Brown Simpson. Were you present for a discussion about whether or not something called a sexual assault kit should be taken in this
The
particular
cats better be good today.
I didn't play a part in the discussion.
They better
but
be
We
good.
didn't take a sexual assault kit.
Did you, in fact, though,
I'll be right back,
give
guys.
a
Be right
concurrence
back.
to the determination not to take a sexual assault kit?
I didn't give a determination, but I didn't feel it was necessary.
And did you express that view?
I expressed that view later, but I didn't think it was indicated.
Doctor, you're going to have to...
I didn't think it was indicated.
Now, Doctor, why did you not... First of all, let's define what is a sexual assault kit.
Sexual assault kit is the process by which you take evidence from the genital area, oral area, rectal area to document whether there's any evidence of sexual assault, which would indicate you basically look for evidence of seminal material in these areas.
Yeah.
Or also look for evidence of injuries which could have been from a sexual act which resulted in injuries.
Why did you not feel that it was appropriate or necessary to take a sexual assault kit in the case of Nicole Brown Simpson?
She was fully clothed. The intimate apparel were in place.
The intimate apparel being what?
The panties. They were not in disarray. There were no evidence of any injuries to the thighs, which I could see. And basically the appearance did not indicate a necessity to do a sexual assault kit. And I did call our criminalist, and he also did not feel it was necessary to take a sexual assault kit because they didn't take any. And later during the autopsy, Dr. Golden also did not see any injuries to the genital area, and there was no indication for taking a sexual assault kit.
Sustain. Chris? That answer is stricken. The jurors to disregard that portion of the answer regarding what Dr. Golden said or saw.
Did Dr. Golden include in the autopsy protocol, the Form 12, any material regarding an examination of the genital area of Nicole Brown Simpson?
Yes, he did.
And we'll look at it as to the specifics, but if you could summarize what that information was, please tell us.
Basically, there was no injuries observed.
Now, doctor, did you examine the panties for any evidence of tearing, cutting, anything whatsoever that would appear other than the normal appearance of a pair of women's panties?
Yes, I did.
What, if anything, did you observe?
I examined, as I mentioned earlier, I had an opportunity to see the panties first in this appearance when it was on Ms. Simpson, and later on June 22nd when the evidence was viewed with the defense pathologists, Dr. Wolf and Dr. Barton, who are here. And at that time, ultraviolet light was also used. The panty was carefully examined. There was no evidence of any fluorescence, which would indicate a seminal stain. There was some fluorescence from frayed material, and also there was no evidence of any tears which could be seen. So basically, the panty appeared intact except for some fraying, and the fluorescence was not, which we could see as being from seminal stains.
When you say fraying, doctor, what do you mean?
Fraying means there are some fibers in a panty. Because of wear and tear, you get some fibers which wear and tear, and these fibers fluoresce because the material which the panty is made from.
Doctor, in your experience as a forensic pathologist, can you estimate for us approximately how many cases of rape, murder you have seen?
Significant number of cases. Either I've seen them during my autopsies. I've done several dozen strangulation cases myself, plus supervised cases.
And when you say supervised, can you estimate approximately how many homicide cases were handled by your office last year that included evidence of the victim being sexually assaulted?
I don't have the numbers off my top of my head. I have to get the numbers for you.
Doctor, in your experience, have you ever seen a situation where a woman was raped by the murderer, and to rape the woman, her panties would have had to be removed so the penis could be inserted in the vagina and ejaculation could occur, and then before the murderer committed the murder, the panties were put back on the victim and put back on in the appropriate position with no evidence of tearing or any disarray, as you described was the condition of Nicole Brown Simpson's panties?
Objection has to be brought.
You may answer the question.
I have not seen any cases like that. The cases where the clothing has been put back on, they are, at least the cases I've seen, they have been put back on improperly, and there's always evidence of assault, which you can see.
What do you mean by evidence of assault that
You'll see blood staining, or because of the trauma involved, and also the zipper, the pant would have been put back in a wrong fashion. The zipper will be in the back instead of being in the front. The panty could be put back on upside down. So what I'm saying is, I've not seen a case where the assault has taken place, the person has been murdered, and where the clothing is in the condition where we see Ms. Nicole Brown Simpson's clothing to have been when we see these photographs.
Would your answer be the same if the sexual assault were changed from one of rape involving penetration of the vaginal area to one of sodomy for penetration of the anal area?
Yes, the same answer. And actually in sodomy you will expect to see definite injuries because you will see evidence of anal lacerations which were not described. You will find evidence of bleeding, and that was also not seen.
Doctor, in your opinion, is there any basis from all of the material you have reviewed in this case, now it's taking you beyond June 13th into today's date, which would cause you to have changed your opinion that it would have been appropriate to have taken a sexual assault kit in this case?
No, I still feel it's not indicated, and I would not have recommended it.
Doctor, does, can I have just a moment here?
Certainly.
Doctor, is there a manual that is put out by your office to be used by your investigators called a Physical Evidence Policy and Procedures Manual?
Yes, there is.
And basically, is the last manual, full manual that was published in August of 1987?
Yes.
Who is, if there's one or if there are more, who are the authors of this manual?
The procedures for physical evidence collection started somewhere in the early 80s, and I think the manual was compiled by one of our senior criminalists at that time under the direction of the chief of laboratories at that time, and I think the manual came in place sometime in 88, I think, I mean 87 or 88, the first date. It was
You have to keep your voice up again, Doctor.
it was first issued on February 4th, 1988.
Doctor, I want to invite your attention. I can show courtroom counsel. To page it's 8.1. I shouldn't have given the manual over to you, Doctor. I lost my place. Hang on 1 second, if you would, please. Eight 8.13.1 on a page starting with the heading Sexual Assault Evidence. Is this, in fact, what your manual indicates is to be a process or procedure followed in your office? Under definition, evidence collected from the genitals, body orifices, and other body surfaces for the purpose of determining if a sexual act may have occurred and who may have participated in that act. Then a heading called Collection, Packaging, and Submission Guidelines. Evaluation for sexual assault evidence shall be made whenever the investigation indicates that a sexual act, whether non-consensual or consensual, may have occurred in association with a death by other than natural causes, whenever identification of the last sexual partner may be of value to the investigation, whenever elimination of sexual activity may be of value to the investigation, or when a person involved in the investigation requests that such evaluation be made. It shall be the responsibility of the assigned coroner's investigator and supervising investigator on duty to determine when sexual assault evidence evaluation is required and to notify the criminalistics laboratory staff as soon as possible. The assigned deputy medical examiner may also request sexual assault evidence evaluation if the need has not been previously recognized. The body shall not be processed in any manner that might alter or destroy the sexual assault evidence until examined and released by the assigned criminalist. If the decedent has died in a hospital and the hospital or police records indicate that sexual assault evidence was collected ante-mortem, a criminalist shall be requested to verify the collection and determine if additional evidence collection is indicated. Evaluation for and collection of sexual assault evidence shall be made by a coroner's criminalist. The assigned criminalist shall determine what evidence to collect based upon evaluation of the reported circumstances, the decedent's sex and body condition, and personal observations. The prepared evidence kit materials shall be used for sexual assault evidence collection whenever feasible. And then it goes on as to the forms to be filled out in the processing. Is that correct, Doctor?
Yes.
And was that, in fact, a policy in your office in June of 1994?
Yes.
Did you, in your opinion, follow that procedure in making a determination that a sexual assault kit was not needed in this particular case?
Yes.
Doctor, in your opinion, does a sexual assault kit assist you as a forensic pathologist in establishing a range for time of death that would be between 9 o'clock in the evening and 12:13 in the morning, 9 o'clock June 12th, 1994, and 12:13 in the morning June 13th, 1994, when Officer Risky first found the bodies?
No.
Why not?
Because just by finding evidence of seminal material or sperms there, it doesn't necessarily mean that they died between that time.
In fact, is it a matter that is handled in a standard forensic pathology text regarding aging of death based upon the presence of something called motile sperm?
There are two issues which are done. One is motile sperms.
First of all, what's motile sperm?
When you get the vaginal aspirate, you look under the microscope to see whether there's motility to the sperms, because sperms are motile.
What is motile, motility?
Motility means the sperms will be able to move around, even are able to move around, and that's how, after an intercourse takes place, the sperms are able to reach the fallopian tubes and fertilize the ova. So that is a normal process which the sperms are capable of physiologically.
And even after a person dies, if you take a sample from the vaginal area and you're looking for sperm, you can microscopically see sperm moving around?
Yes.
What, if any, significance does the presence of moving sperm have on the issue of when the ejaculation occurred?
It would see, you can see motile sperms, the average is less than up to 4 hours, but people have seen motile sperms up to 60 hours. But generally the average is 4 hours.
So 4 hours before time of death, you can still see motile sperm?
No.
I'm
You
sorry. From an ejaculation 4 hours before death and a sample taken after death, you may still see motile sperm on average?
No, the motility of the sperms is for 4 hours, and that could go on up to 60 hours. And so it has nothing to do with the death process itself. It is the sperm itself. So it's a different.
I understand, but if we put it in context of a person dies sometime after there has been ejaculation, and you're looking at a slide to look for a moving sperm, would it be accurate to say that if you see moving sperm, it means that on average, that sperm could have been placed inside the vaginal tract as much as 4 hours before death?
That could be one conclusion, depending on that the sample being collected immediately after death, and you see motile sperms, then that could be one conclusion. But I said there is variability to this, and it could go on up to 60 hours. They're seeing motile sperms.
So if you were trying to evaluate whether Nicole Brown Simpson died between 10:15 in the evening on June 12th and 11 o'clock in the evening on June 12th, would the presence, just assuming hypothetically there had ever been motile sperm collected and seen, would the presence of motile sperm have permitted you to make that evaluation?
No, you cannot estimate a time of death from that, especially for such a narrow time frame. And even if it's not a narrow time frame, I would not estimate a time of death from the presence of sperms because you have so much variability in it.
Doctor, is there another aspect of seminal fluid which may have some value in giving a range for when the ejaculation occurred versus when the sample was obtained?
Yes, there is another test which you can do chemically. It is for acid phosphatase. It's an enzyme which is present in your prostatic secretions. And when you ejaculate, your prostatic secretions are also mixed with your ejaculation. And if you calculate the amount of acid phosphatase, and they are measured in what is called Bodansky units, BODANSKY. And if you have a level between 10 and 30, it would indicate that the intercourse took place before, a short time before the specimen was collected.
What is a short time when you're using these units?
That is not defined because you can find it up to several hours, but usually you don't find it more than 10 to 24 hours after that. You don't get a high level. You need to get a level of 10 to 30.
Are there values actually given in a forensic pathology text, such as a Spitz and Fisher edition that we used with a couple of photographs earlier in your testimony?
Yes.
Doctor, do you recall off the top of your head what those values are?
10 to 30, and I think
10 to 30,
Bodansky units.
okay. And translating into a time frame of?
Up to, it favors that the intercourse took place just before you obtain the specimen.
What is just before defined in the text?
If somebody had coitus just before death.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor? By the way, Doctor, if there's motile sperm, is there something that is non-moving sperm that can be seen?
Just because what happens is the motility is due to the tail of the sperm, and you can lose the tail after a certain time, and you only see the heads of the sperms, and that you can see for a longer time because they can be there in the vaginal area.
Doctor, what is the time frame during which you can see the presence of non-moving sperm? That is, time of ejaculation to time of sample collection.
The non-moving sperm depends on the stage of decomposition of the body. If the body is not decomposed, they have found sperms in frozen bodies even after a week. It depends on whether the decomposition is post-mortem deterioration of the body. If that takes place also, these tissues can deteriorate.
The doctor, inviting your attention, if I could, to pages 790 and 791 of
Yes.
Spitz and Fisher's third edition. Have you reviewed that material?
Yes, I have.
Has that material been relied upon in any way by you in forming opinions regarding the time frame regarding the acid phosphatase determination?
Yes.
And I don't know if you want to take a look. Does this refresh your memory with respect to any specific?
It says values ranging from 10 to 30 Podansky units suggest rape occurred shortly before death rather than intercourse 5 to 10 hours earlier.
And other than that, does it define what shortly before is?
No.
And is there any literature of which you are aware, which is a scientific study of the relationship between Podansky units of acid phosphatase levels and confirmed times between ejaculation and time of death and sample collection?
Not reviewed other literature.
Or are you aware of any such?
There must be information in the literature which I have not reviewed.
When you say there must be, are you aware of any?
No.
Doctor, taking all this into account, in your opinion, would a sexual assault kit from Nicole Brown Simpson have been of any value to you as a forensic pathologist in either identifying the killer or killers of Nicole Brown Simpson? It's a multiple question. Any value to you in identifying the killer or killers?
No.
And in identifying the specific time of death?
No.
Why not as to each?
Because there was evidence of, let's assume there was consensual sexual intercourse, because we don't have evidence of assault here. Even then, it doesn't mean that person is the person who did these murders. Now, coming to time of death, I've already mentioned that there's these time ranges which we have discussed for the sperm and acid phosphatase. You cannot estimate a time of death from that.
And doctor, have you taken into account in any way non-medical observations, such as evidence that may have been presented in this case regarding telephone records and telephone calls between Nicole Brown Simpson and persons such as her mother?
Yes.
Mezzaluna Restaurant?
Yes.
You have reviewed that material?
Not reviewed. I'm aware of the material.
And with respect to subsequent contact between Nicole Brown Simpson and the Mezzaluna Restaurant?
I'm aware of that also.
Doctor, is there anything of which you are aware which leads you to believe, from a forensic pathologist standpoint, that there was a sexual assault of this woman?
No.
Now, is there anything further with respect to photograph B1 that has not been covered?
There is also intense blood staining of the left side of the face, which would go along with the blood loss from her neck wounds, which I discussed earlier.
And that is all fully consistent with what you have seen in the crime scene photographs?
Yes. I'll just have a sip of water.
Okay. Anything further on photograph B1?
No.
May I have just one minute? Certainly. Doctor, let me invite your attention now back to a photo that you briefly used in conjunction with photograph B31, and that is photograph B12. Do you see that?
Yes.
What are we looking at in that particular photograph?
We are seeing 4 small abrasions arranged in the right shoulder region. Of course, you are still seeing the cut wound which I described in the right ring finger. In addition, we have a small scar in the right posterior shoulder area. We also have a smaller abrasion, reddish brown in color, adjacent to the scar in the back of the shoulder. And I have the measurements.
Could you get your wound chart, which is our exhibit, I believe 350?
Yes, B12, the measurements.
Keep your voice up, remember, Doctor.
Yes, the abrasion which is next to the scar here is 1/8 of an inch, and the scar itself is 3/8 of an inch by 3/16 of an inch. This is all my measurements from the 1:1 photographs. The 4 pink brown abrasions on the shoulder range from 1/4 inch by 1/8 inch, 1/2 inch by 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch, and 1/4 inch by 1/16 inch. So those are the measurements, and they are been described.
When you say they have been described, have all of the injuries that you have described now in B12, we've already covered the aspect of the right hand, have all of these injuries been described by Dr. Golden in his original autopsy protocol?
Yes, but yes,
What's the but?
he has described them as postmortem excoriations.
We're going to get to the board to show that specifically, but is a term post-mortem excoriation of significance to you as a forensic pathologist?
Yes,
What is that?
it would indicate that he felt it was a post-mortem injury.
What is an excoriation?
Excoriation is another term which you can use for an abrasion. Basically, the skin surface has been peeled off.
In your opinion, is it a post-mortem excoriation?
No,
Why not?
because the appearance of the injury looks perimortem in the shoulder area, which is pinkish brown and rather antemortem, and the one on the back of this shoulder blade is antemortem also.
Doctor, from the appearance of these abrasions, do you have an opinion as to the manner in which they were inflicted?
They are non-specific blunt force injury. They don't have any pattern to them, and they're not fatal.
Are they of any significance, in your opinion, to any of the big-ticket issues that you've reviewed in this case?
No.
Can you determine how long Nicole Brown Simpson's heart was beating after she received those abrasions?
Within a few minutes, or even less than a minute.
And is there any way to be definite with respect to that timing from what you see in the photograph B12?
No.
Before we move to the boards, doctor, is there anything else seen in this photograph that you wish to discuss?
No.
And perhaps we can all switch positions and we'll move this forward. And, Your Honor, we're putting up 0B and 2B
Thank
from
you.
our 349 collection.
Thank you.
Doctor, first of all, can you tell us where in the protocol there is any entry reflecting any of these abrasions that you described from photograph B12?
Page 3.
Please show us where there is such an entry.
Paragraph 1, line 4, examination of the posterior surface of the trunk,
And how far does that run, doctor, to cover what we're looking at?
up to line 8.
Your Honor, where Dr. Lakshmanan has outlined with the pointer, I'm going to take a red marker and enclose that area, and I'll write at the side B12. Doctor, excuse me. Dr. Golden has included the terms compatible with ant to insect bites.
Yeah.
As a forensic pathologist, does the term excoriation have some correlation with being caused by ant or insect bites?
Well, that's a term which is used by some physicians to describe if they do see ant and insect bites.
Doctor, in your opinion, are those abrasions, which you have described as antemortem rather than postmortem as described by Dr. Golden on page 3, due to ant or insect bites?
No,
Why not?
because the appearance have more reddish brown or pinkish brown in color, which would indicate that they happen during life. And I don't think they are postmortem excoriations.
Doctor, did you also examine from the crime scene photographs, our board 355, the area of Nicole Brown Simpson's back, which in the photograph B12 contains these abrasions?
Yes, I did.
What did you examine that area of the back for with respect to this issue of ant or insect bites, if you did that examination?
I did the examination to see whether there was any ant activity on the body, number one. Number two, also confirmed the appearance of the wound, which was the same appearance as I see it in these photographs. You can see it in the right shoulder area very well.
Doctor, in your experience as a forensic pathologist with respect to ant or insect bites, is it your experience that ants or insects operate individually?
No,
How do they operate?
in large groups.
And do you expect to see, if there is a photograph at the crime scene of the body at a time when ants are inflicting this kind of post-mortem excoriation, to see evidence of that?
You would see evidence of ant activity if it was present.
Why don't we finish with the diagram, and then we'll get to the photograph by moving it out when we move the diagram down. This diagram, Form 20, does it contain any reference to the same aspect that's covered in page 3, or on page 3, the excoriations?
Yes. Right in the right posterior shoulder area here.
And there's some entry along the right side of what appear to be several diagonal lines.
Yes, it shows that there are abrasions present, and it says appears post-mortem.
Where you've outlined that, Doctor, with your pointer, I'll circle in red and write B12 on our board, Form 20. Now, Doctor, in the photograph, I believe you identified areas beyond what is shown in this diagram as an area of abrasion, antemortem abrasions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that other area, or are those other areas shown on Figure 20?
It's a small abrasion right here in this shoulder blade area, which is not diagrammed.
When you say here, let me just circle that. Is this the area, Doctor?
Yes.
I'll
Small.
just-
Yes, that's fine.
No, it's not fine if it's not accurate.
It's just a dot of an abrasion. It's not a big one.
Okay. I'll circle the area in general, and I'll write B12 in blue on
Okay.
Form 20. Is that at least circling the area?
Yes.
All right. Now, Doctor, number one, is it a mistake, in your judgment, for Dr. Golden to have determined that this was a post-mortem excoriation or abrasion?
It's a mistake to call it post-mortem when it's antemortem.
Is it a mistake to attribute the source of the abrasion or excoriation to ant or insect bites?
Yes.
Is it a mistake not to have fully diagrammed on a form such as 20 the totality of the abrasion seen in photograph B12?
Yes.
Individually and collectively, Doctor, do any of these mistakes by Dr. Golden have significance on any of the big ticket questions?
No.
Why not?
Because these are very small abrasions, and sometimes you can fail to document them when you have a case with so many injuries to document, but they have no significance to the cause of death and manner of death, or to explain further details as to the weapon or bleeding patterns, etc.
Is there anything further for photograph B12 that we need diagram 20?
No.
I'm going to take down diagram 20, and I'm briefly going to pull out Exhibit 355.
Is that 355?
I believe so. I can't see the exhibit numbers on the front.
Lower right hand.
It's either 54 or 55. 54, Mr. Lawrence tells me.
354.
This is going to be up so briefly. We're going to have counsel moving very quickly back. But, Doctor, do you see in this photograph, CS11, the area of the back, which is seen also in B12 and which contains the abrasions that you've identified?
This photograph doesn't show it very clearly, but this is the area where we are looking at in that photograph. I've seen other photographs where there is better outline.
Let's try CS12 on the same exhibit.
This is the area here. I've seen a better picture than this.
All right. A photograph that we are not using, is that correct?
Yes.
Doctor, in looking at these two photographs, CS11, CS12, and the photograph that you have reviewed, do you see any evidence of ant or insect activity on the back of Nicole Brown Simpson?
Not on the photographs.
Is that of significance then in evaluating whether in fact the source of those abrasions is due to ant or insect bites as indicated by Dr. Golden in his protocol?
Yes.
In what manner?
I'm sorry.
Is it of significance to you?
Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I catch it.
All right, let me slow it down. Is the absence of evidence of ant or insect activity in the area of the back shown in the three photos, the two here and the other that you reviewed, of significance to you in assessing the source of those abrasions seen on the back in photograph B12?
Yes.
In what way?
The absence of it would indicate to me that there's no ant activity at the time these photographs were taken.
And if there had been a source for these abrasions from ant activity, would you expect them to be present in these three photographs?
I would expect them to be present.
All right. Why don't we take this down, counsel? We're going to go right back to that page 3 of the protocol, Your Honor.
Mr. Lynch, you can leave that one there.
Doctor, Because this page has a reference, I want to go back again to the B1 photograph and the issue of a sexual assault kit and invite your attention to the second full sentence on page 3, the sentence that is immediately above the outlined box for B12. Is that one of the entries that you reviewed in Dr. Golden's protocol concerning the issue of trauma to the genital area of Nicole Brown Simpson?
Yes.
Would you read to us, please, what is said in that one sentence?
The genitalia are that of an adult female with no gross evidence of injury.
And I'll outline that in blue on the poster board size and write B1 on the right-hand margin. Now, doctor, is there a specific area of the protocol that discusses an examination of the genital area of Nicole Brown Simpson?
It should be in the latter part of the protocol under urogenital system. Page 12 of the protocol.
And doctor, there is an entry, genital system, parentheses, female, close parentheses. What does this refer to?
This refers to the internal examination of the genitalia of Ms. Brown Simpson.
And let me outline that in red. That block of sentences, and I'll write out at the side B1, right side B1. Doctor, can you translate this into lay person's terms, what these observations mean?
The information is that the uterus, tubes, and adnexa are anatomic. That means the internal genitalia, which are the uterus, the fallopian tubes, and the ovaries are normal, in normal position and normal appearance. The cut surface of the uterus shows no lesions and a thin, light brown endometrium.
First of all, what is a lesion? Lesion. What is a lesion?
Lesion is looking for injury or abnormal pathology, because you can have, in uterus, you can have, common thing is fibroid. You can have a fibroid of the uterus that is not present. There could be what's called adenomyosis, which is presence of endometrial tissue in the muscle of the uterus. That's not present. You can see it grossly. So that's what is meant by lesion when you look at the uterus and you're looking for abnormal pathology versus normal pathology, and that's not there. And then the endometrium is thin, light brown. That means that the person reflects the description of the endometrium itself, which would mean that she's not menstruating. It would mean that it's in the stage of the endometrium when it's in what's called the stage after. Grossly, it would mean that it's not in the secretory stage or the proliferative stage.
Let me shortcut this by asking, is everything normal with
Yes.
respect to that aspect of the internal examination?
Yes.
All right. How about the last sentence?
The vagina has its normal mucosal surface and no lesions or injuries are evident, and it's self-explanatory. There was no pathology seen and there was no injury in the vagina present.
Doctor, in your experience in examining cases of rape, murder, does one normally expect to see some kind of injury or lesion in the vaginal area?
You may see in some cases.
And in some you may not?
Yes.
Anything further about this particular entry?
Nothing else to which I need to discuss.
All right. Let's take this one down.
This 355?
Yes, Your Honor, we're back to that. Now, Doctor, is there anything further to discuss on B12?
No.
Let's move then, if we could please, to B11, the photograph which is immediately to the left.
Yes.
What are we looking at in that photograph, Doctor?
In the back of the right side of the neck, you see a U-shaped abrasion, which is more well defined in its lower, in one limb of the U, which is the lower part, which is on the lower part of the U. The U being horizontally oriented, and this abrasion, which you see, is also interrupted. That means you have space of intact skin between the points of abrasion.
Does the interruption of an abrasion have any significance to you in evaluating how an abrasion such as this comes to be received?
That is the, yes, basically the object or surface which caused this injury was coming in intermittent contact with the skin surface. That would be one interpretation.
Can you explain what you mean by intermittent contact?
If you go back to B5, I think you can.
You have to keep your voice up. remember
B5
that.
doesn't show, it's already, the clothing has been taken off. If you look at the dress in B1, there's a neck strap here, which holds up, and that strap had a hook, there's a hook to that strap in the back, and one possible source for this abrasion could be from that strap during the, at some point, when Ms. Simpson was,
I just want you to have an opportunity, Doctor. I won't put the board up. The crime scene photos 354. Does that show what you're attempting to?
yes, it shows it in BCS12.
Let me put up Exhibit 354 then, and ask you to please show us what it is that you're trying to use as an example of an interrupted abrasion source.
This strap, you can see it here just below her hairline, the back of the neck. It's a thin strap, which is part of this dress.
And how does that come into play, if,
Well,
assuming that's the source,
if-
to create this interrupted abrasion that you've seen?
At some point, the strap could have been pulled backwards to rub against the skin surface there, and it could have been one possible source for it.
Doctor, are you able to determine whether this abrasion was received before death as an ante-mortem abrasion?
Yes, it's an ante-mortem abrasion.
How are you able to tell that?
The appearance, the reddish-brown color, and the features I described.
Does it have any significance, in your opinion, to any of the big-ticket questions that you've talked about and reviewed for this case?
No,
Why not?
because it doesn't play a part in the cause of death or manner of death or the other issues I discussed already, bleeding patterns, evaluation of sharp force injury. It's a non-specific, it's a non-specific blunt force injury.
Did Dr. Golden address this in his protocol?
He did, but he didn't describe it as U-shaped, but he has addressed it.
Would you have expected him to describe it as U-shaped based upon what you see in the photograph?
Yes, but the other limb of the U is very faint, so if it was not looked at closely, you may interpret it as a linear abrasion rather than U-shaped,
A linear abrasion?
Yes.
Meaning,
as straight, because you don't see the other limb as clearly as the lower part of the U.
did Dr. Golden diagram this particular abrasion?
He has.
And is it addressed in any way in an addendum?
No.
Is there anything, before we move back then to see the protocol and the addendum, I'm sorry, protocol and diagram, about photograph B11?
Nothing else.
Did you ask someone who acts as a consultant to your office to look at this particular abrasion for an interpretation as to possible bite mark?
Yes, I did.
Who did you ask to look at this?
Dr. Vale, he's our forensic odontology consultant.
Vale, V-A-L-E?
Yes, Gerald Vale, Gerald Vale.
And what is a forensic odontologist?
He is a forensic odontologist, is a dentist who specializes in forensic work, and their role would be in identification of dissidents by comparing the dental remains. The other function is they help in bite mark evaluations.
What is bite mark?
Bite mark is the mark left on a body surface by the bite of another person, and what the forensic odontologist would do would examine the mark, take what is called an exemplar of the mark using certain material, and also have that available in case they have a potential suspect to compare. They will examine the suspect's teeth and see whether there are features which match with the mark which is seen on the body.
In this particular case, was Dr. Vale asked to evaluate this abrasion as a possible bite mark after the autopsy had been completed?
Not after the autopsy was completed. It was only later when the body had already been released, and much later actually, in September sometime in 94.
When I said after, I meant literally after,
Okay.
at any time after. But it was after, is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
And in essence, the body was not available for Dr. Vale to personally examine.
That is correct.
But was Dr. Vale provided both with the type of photograph we're looking at in B11, as well as the life-size photographs that you have reviewed of the same area, before evaluating this issue?
Objection, no foundation.
Overruled.
You may answer the question.
Yes, yes, he reviewed the original photographs, and then he requested 1:1 photographs. He requested to examine the clothing, and all this was arranged for Dr. Vale, who then gave his opinion on this particular injury.
Did he in fact issue reports to your office?
Yes, he did.
Is Dr. Vale, in his consulting role as a forensic odontologist, considered an employee of the coroner's office?
Yes,
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled.
You may answer the question.
yes,
And did he in fact submit his report on a form like we've seen in these other forms that has a specific number used by the coroner's office in the course of its official responsibilities?
yes.
What kind of form is that?
It's a consultant form, Form 13, which is used for this purpose.
Now, is there anything else preliminarily to discuss on B11 before we look at the protocol, the diagram, and Dr. Vale's reports?
Yes, he did not think it was a bite mark.
All right?
Move
Let's,
to distract as non-responsive, calling for reversal.
Overruled.
and your answer is he did not think it was a bite mark?
From the photographic review.
And Mr. Kalberg, 10:30.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. We're going to be using, Your Honor, 0B, I believe that's 2B, and 10B from our 349 collection. Doctor, let's start with the protocol itself. Where is any entry from Dr. Golden concerning this U-shaped abrasion you've identified in photograph B11?
Page 3.
Page 3?
Yes.
Where is the entry?
He actually has included in the same paragraph because he has used it, the upper back, right side, and medial part of the scapula, and he refers to upper back in diagram 20 to this area here. So that is where he has documented it.
All right, first of all, would it be accurate to say that he has, in this paragraph on page 3 that we've already outlined in red as B12, he has incorporated a description of both the B12 blunt force trauma and what is seen by you in the B11 photograph?
Yes.
All right, so what I'll write is, on by B12, I'll also write B11 in blue by the box. But there's a separate entry, is there, Doctor, on Form 20?
Yes, he has marked it in the back of the right neck area, and he has called them antemortem, red-brown, and appears, here also it says appears antemortem and anti-abrasion, red-brown, and he has marked it here. This is the same injury.
All right. Both where I'm pointing, I don't want to mark it until I'm clear. Where I'm pointing, first of all, here, Doctor,
No, this abrasion description could apply to this one, but he has marked it separately as AM, also antemortem. So this could reflect for this and this, but in both he has also given notation being antemortem.
all right. Is it, in your interpretation, this entry in the right-hand corner refers to these two somewhat diagonal lines?
Yes,
Let me circle that in blue, and I'll write B11, excuse me. Now, Doctor, when you were testifying a moment or so ago, you said he didn't describe it as a U shape.
yes,
And is the basis on that, on which you testified to that, the fact that in the diagram they appear to be in line with each other?
yes.
In your opinion, is it a mistake for Dr. Golden not to have shown that abrasion to be a U-shaped abrasion as you see it in the photograph?
I already thought I discussed it. The upper part of the U is very faint, and if you have not perceived it, you may describe it as a linear as he has done.
Would you expect him to perceive it in a meticulous examination?
Yes,
And if he failed to perceive it and failed to record it, are those mistakes?
yes,
Any significance to them?
no,
For the same reason?
yes.
Anything further as to protocol and that diagram for this particular abrasion?
No.
Let me put up, why don't we take down the I'm sorry, Dr. Lakshmana wants to add something, is that correct?
Yeah, he didn't describe it, he described it as ante-mortem in the diagram, but here he has included it as a post-mortem.
So, again, on page 3, and let me outline in blue the words post-mortem injuries within that box referring to B11 and B12. That would be different than how he has actually described it on the form used at time of autopsy, at least for this particular, what you say is a U-shaped abrasion,
Yes, and he has recognized it as being ante-mortem.
according to his diagrammatic entry, is that correct?
Yes.
And in your opinion, that is accurate, that it is ante-mortem?
Yes.
Anything further on that?
No.
If Mr. Lynch, you take down the protocol and we'll substitute. I'm not sure. Can we put it back up? I don't know what the weight of this particular easel is. Looking at this, are you familiar with this particular type of form?
I don't know. I don't know what the weight of this particular easel is, Judge. The second piece of paper might topple it.
Yes.
In general, what is this type of form?
This is a consultant report by the odontologist. It's a consultant report, and here we have an odontology consultant report.
And is this one of the reports received by from Dr. Vale?
Yes.
And is this a report that is expected to be completed at or near the time of the events which he is describing in the report?
Yes.
Is this report kept in the ordinary course of the official business of the coroner's office?
Yes.
Now, in essence, what does this say?
That he has examined the mark in the back of the right side of the neck. He has examined certain other marks in the lower right back, and he has reviewed a lot of photographs. And this is the point when he examined it initially, and then he wanted some 1:1 photographs and clothing examined, and he's given a follow-up report after this one.
Doctor, from your testimony, does this report discuss evaluations of things besides this U-shaped area that we've been talking about in photo B11?
Yes,
And matters which we have not yet discussed in one or more photographs?
that is correct.
What part of this September 9, 1994 report specifically refers to an evaluation of the U-shaped abrasion?
Photograph A.
And I'll outline that in red on page 1 of the September 9 Form 13 and write B11 out at the side. And doctor, at the bottom where it says initialed by GLV, that's Dr. Vale.
Yes.
You mentioned something about providing life-size one-to-one, as you described, one-to-one photograph, life-size photograph, and an opportunity to look at the dress of Nicole Brown Simpson.
Yes.
And that's what Dr. Vale has included in this report?
Yes. And he also requested my criminalist, Mr. Stephen Towell, to look at these photographs and the clothing.
There is also a second signature that falls below Dr. Vale's on this form. Who is Dr. Anselmo?
He is the co-director of the School of Dentistry at USC, but he's also another forensic odontology consultant who works for our office.
In the same manner that Dr. Vale does?
Yes.
Now flipping to a third page, this appears to be another Form 13, this time dated September 14, 1994. What is this document, if you're familiar with it, Doctor?
Yes, this is the document which Dr. Vale prepared after reviewing the clothing in the LAPD lab and also the 1:1 photographs, and he generated a report.
And what part, if any, of this report is discussing the U-shaped abrasion and possible source or sources for it?
The second paragraph in the conclusion section of Form 13, signed on September 15th, 94.
This entire paragraph, Doctor?
Yes.
And I'll write B11 after I've outlined it in red. Doctor, for the record, would you read what Dr. Vale, Dr. Anselmo, and Mr. Dowell have included in that paragraph in the report?
Regarding the mark on the back of the neck, right side, it remains our opinion that this is not a bite mark after having considered the possibilities of a bite in the vertical axis and in the horizontal axis. We do not exclude the possibility that the hook on the neck strap caused some or all of the mark, noting some similarity between the shape of the hook and the upper portion of the mark.
You have examined the clothing of Nicole Brown Simpson that is described in this report, have
Yes.
you, Doctor?
I have.
And Doctor, based upon Dr. Vale, Dr. Anselmo, and Mr. Dowell's report, and based upon your evaluation of all of the materials you've reviewed, do you have an opinion that is any different from the opinions expressed in that paragraph as to the source or sources for that U-shaped abrasion?
No.
Your Honor, I think we're done with this, and this may be an appropriate time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess, mid-morning recess at this time. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Do not discuss this case amongst yourselves, form any opinions about the case, conduct any deliberations, or allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case, and we'll stand in recess for 15 minutes. All right? Thank you.
No break. Get back to work. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Chop, chop. No one listens to me. Chop, chop, I said. Fine, I'll do it myself.
Very briefly.
Never mind. Oh, nope. Wow, sir, there are 2 boards on that easel.
Gentlemen?
Thank you, Your Honor. Doctor, as long as we had the protocol up, I wanted to just quickly go over another aspect of Dr. Golden's preliminary hearing testimony and inviting court and counsel to page 71 and lines 7 through 19.
Mr. Lynch, could you move this exhibit back because it's blocking jurors number 1?
And incidentally, Your Honor, one of the bailiffs was kind enough to point out to us there may be some difficulty by one or more of the jurors in seeing the easel boards.
Damn
that
juror
would be
number
closer to
7.
the door used by the jury.
Yep.
Obviously, we can move these in any manner that will give everyone a full view.
Why don't
Any
they
jurors-
just put
I'm confident all of our jurors
juror
know-
number 7 right beside the court reporter? That would solve all issues.
by now that if they can't see anything, all they have to do is raise their hand. All right.
Now, Doctor, we have up on the easel page 7 of the protocol, and I want to invite your attention in particular back to that photograph of B31 regarding the ring finger versus the index finger. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And as I recall from your testimony, Dr. Golden, in his protocol, inaccurately describes that particular injury as being to the right index finger rather than the ring finger. Is that a correct recitation of your testimony?
Yes.
Doctor, in reviewing Dr. Golden's preliminary hearing testimony, did you review the following questions and answers from page 71? Question, now, Doctor, during the course of your autopsy as performed on Nicole Brown Simpson's body, did you notice any injuries to her hands? Answer, yes. Question, tell us about that, sir. Answer, referring to my notes, my autopsy notes, protocol, to refresh my memory, on the index finger, on the right index finger, there was a 5/8 inch long cut of the skin adjacent to the distal knuckle. It involved the skin only, and it had a tangential cut, which would indicate that it was shelved. It didn't go in straight. It was an oblique cut, which would indicate a shelving or tangential cut. Did you review those questions and answers, Doctor?
Yes, I did.
Doctor, in your opinion, did Dr. Golden make a mistake in that testimony regarding the location of that particular injury?
Yes, he did.
In essence, did he repeat in his testimony the mistake that is in the typewritten portion of the protocol?
Yes.
And again, is this mistake of any significance on the big ticket issues?
No.
Now, Doctor, if we can get our photograph board back, 355.
Proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Doctor, I now want to invite your attention to a photograph that is designated B9 on Exhibit 355.
Yes.
What are we looking at in that photograph?
There is evidence of a blunt force injury to the right lower back, and there also appears to be an evidence of a dress impression above it, below the right shoulder blade area.
When you say a dress impression, are you referring to any specific garment?
Yes, the black garment Ms. Brown Simpson was wearing.
Doctor, is this the other aspect of the back of Nicole Brown Simpson which was evaluated by Drs. Vale and Anselmo and your criminalist, Mr. Dowell,
Yes.
and discussed in their reports that we've seen and we'll see again with respect to this area on the Form 13s?
Yes.
Doctor, I want to move first, though, to this area. You said there's evidence of blunt force trauma seen in the photograph. Is that correct?
Yes.
Would you outline the area that you see? And with the pointer, you're making a circle that is an area directly above the top horizontal portion of the measuring card, and it's up approximately 1.5 to 2 inches from that same area when you look at it on the photograph?
That would be a fair statement.
That's accurate?
Yes.
And keep your voice up, please, doctor. What are we looking at with respect to that blunt force trauma?
You're looking at an area of patchy contusion injury measuring about 3.5 inches in the horizontal axis. That is, in the photograph, it's on a side-to-side measurement, and 2.25 inches in the vertical axis. That would be in the photograph in an up-down configuration, and it's mottled and patchy.
What does mottled mean?
That means there are areas of skin which does not show contusion, and there's areas of skin which show the contusion.
Is that of significance to you as a forensic pathologist?
Yes,
Why?
because even though it's evidence of a blunt force injury, and that would indicate that the blunt force which caused the injury had an uneven surface.
What do you mean by an uneven surface?
If you remember the scalp contusion which we discussed yesterday on the right side of the head, it was one rounded contusion, and here in this particular contusion, it's not one continuous contusion. There is areas of interruption, and that would favor it being an irregular surfaced object which caused this blunt force injury, which resulted in this bruising of the right lower back.
What source or sources could be the responsible agent for that kind of blunt force trauma as we see in this photograph B9?
She had the dress in between the injury and on the skin surface and the force which caused the injury. So naturally the dress would be an intermediate object which would prevent getting a specific pattern. There is no specific pattern. One example could be an uneven, a short foot, like a sole of a shoe could do it, or even a fist. But for the fist, you need more, several impacts.
Let's back up for 1 second. The dress that Nicole Brown Simpson was wearing, as seen in the crime scene photographs, was covering the area of the body that is shown in the photograph B9 with this mottled contusion?
Yes.
Doctor, could you slide me the board that's directly there? And let's see if we can do this. I'm pulling, for the record, Your Honor, I've pulled our Exhibit 355 out just enough so we can still see the photograph B9, and I've covered the rest with our Exhibit 354.
You have, as I told you, an impression of a dress in the lower right back below this shoulder blade area. And if you look at crime scene photograph 12, you can see that that area corresponds to the upper margin of this dress in the back portion of the dress. So this area of bruising is below that dress line in this region here. So this is what I meant by that the dress was interposed between the blunt force which caused that injury and the skin surface. So it does not allow to be specific about a pattern, because the dress would be an interfering kind of object between the blunt force and the skin.
Doctor, you indicated that one possible source for that appearance of a mottled contusion would be the sole of a foot, or shoe, I think you said.
Yes, short foot, I said.
How would that, assuming hypothetically that is the source, how can that create that kind of appearing contusion?
If the shoe has a rubber sole with irregular surface, because you can have different patterns to the sole of the shoe, like a waffle pattern, which is one of the common patterns you see in a shoes under surface. What would happen is, if somebody causes blunt force injury with a short foot to the back, the protrusions of the undersurface of the shoe could leave marks like this. It could, but you cannot really specify that it is the shoe. It will be difficult.
Doctor, do you hold yourself out as an expert in shoe patterns?
No.
do you hold yourself out as an expert in shoe comparison?
No.
And so as a forensic pathologist, in talking about a possible sole of a shoe as a source, you are not attempting to specify any specific shoe in this case, is that accurate?
That is correct.
Or specify any type of shoe, is that accurate?
That is correct.
Now, doctor, how is it, assuming it's a shoe, that the contusion can be created? What are the forces at play that result in this kind of mottled appearance?
What happens is when you get forcible compression of the soft tissues of the, I'm just giving the same possible source as, I'm not saying that is the source. Let's just take that as an example.
I understand,
Yeah,
hypothetically.
hypothetical. Because of the uneven surface of the shoe, because of the waffle pattern, you have ridges and grooves in the shoe surface. So what will happen is when you get compression of the body by such a surface, the skin will get pinched between the into the areas where there are grooves, or not grooves, in a waffle pattern it would be the depressions. And that would result in the bruising of those areas, whichever is affected by that part of the shoe. And you may have areas which don't have the bruising because of the raised part of the shoe.
What do you mean by compression?
Compression means the soft tissues are compressed against by the force of the shoe. Underlying this, you have the lower rib cage. It's actually below the rib cage and the soft tissues there.
Hypothetically, doctor, again, just
An objection motion is right, that that's going to be purely speculative and not based on any discussion knowledge of the doctor that can do this.
you may answer the question, doctor. I'm not sure there is a question. I think I was starting it.
It was the last answer. Proceed.
Doctor, again, hypothetically, assuming that the source for that blunt force trauma is a shoe, how, in your opinion, can that compression take place? What does the shoe have to be doing in order to create the compression that leaves this kind of mottled appearance?
It could be a kick. It could be continuous compression of the body, standing on person.
And when you say standing, the person who's doing the standing, putting...
Naturally, it would be one shoe, one short foot on the body and one short foot on the ground.
And the short foot, I want
Short foot, S-H-O-T.
Shot, okay. A foot that is wearing a shoe?
Yes.
All right. Assuming that situation of 1 foot wearing a shoe on the body, does the person whose foot it is have to place the person's weight, transfer the person's weight to the leg and down to the foot and down to the shoe, so that weight is being applied to the back, hypothetically, of Nicole Brown Simpson?
Yes.
How long a process does that require in order for you as a forensic pathologist to expect to see the byproduct of that compression?
It's basically just like any other bruise. When you get crushing of tissues, the vessels get crushed and you get leakage of blood. And as long as the pressure is strong enough to cause that bleeding, you will see a bruising.
In your opinion, doctor, is this bruising which was received before the death of Nicole Brown Simpson?
Yes.
Do you have an opinion as to a minimum amount of time between the cause for that blunt force trauma and the actual stoppage of the heart action for Nicole Brown Simpson?
You need blood pressure for it, so as long as there was blood pressure, you would have the bruise, so it could be a few minutes before the final loss of blood pressure.
Can it be less than a few minutes?
It could be less than a few minutes too.
As I asked you before, what, in your opinion, would be a minimum amount of time that Nicole Brown Simpson's heart must have beaten between the time whatever source created that blunt force trauma was applied and the time when she died?
The bleeding would take immediately after the blunt force trauma. So if, let's say, this blunt force trauma took place a minute before death, you could see it a minute before death.
And doctor, does the rapidity with which the appearance of the blunt force trauma will be seen depend in any way on the force that is being applied?
There are two factors when you come to the back portion of the body where there's more deeper tissues. The force would be one factor. You would see it immediately after the force. Sometimes the force may not cause the injury to the superficial tissues. It will show the injury more to the deeper tissues, and that may not be seen right away, but for that you need the person to live longer so that you can see the bruising on the surface.
How much longer?
Few minutes.
Doctor, is one component of the concept of force something known as mass, M-A-S-S?
Yes, the weight.
And so basically, if we assume hypothetically that the source is a person with a shod foot, would it be an accurate statement of a concept of physics that the greater the weight of the person, the greater the force that is being applied?
Weight would be a factor, yes.
And as a factor, is it accurate to say that the more weight that's being applied, the more force that is generated?
Yes.
Assuming hypothetically, doctor, that the source is the shod foot of an individual who weighed 210 pounds, in your opinion, would that weight be sufficient to create the type of mottled contusion that is seen in photograph B9?
Objection, no foundation for objection.
Overruled.
You may answer the question, doctor.
It could cause this bruising.
Doctor, is this area of bruising described by Dr. Golden in his protocol?
No.
Is this area of bruising diagrammed by Dr. Golden in any of the diagrams available?
No.
Is this area of bruising addressed by Dr. Golden in his addendum?
No.
Is each of those failures by Dr. Golden, in your opinion, a mistake?
Yes.
Taken singularly or together, do these mistakes affect or have any significance on the big ticket issues like cause of death,
No.
manner of death,
No.
whether a single 6-inch long single-edged knife blade caused all the sharp force injuries,
No.
whether one person killed these two human beings,
No.
the blood flow pattern,
No.
the time to die,
No.
any other of these issues?
No.
Why not, doctor?
Because this is a non-specific blunt force injury. We discussed a hypothetical situation. It has nothing to do with the cause of death. It happened when the person is alive. It is an injury, and it doesn't affect the big ticket issues you just discussed.
Doctor, give us, if you can, any other examples of possible sources for that type of mottled contusion.
As I said, it could be a repetitive blunt force from a fist, closed fist, and you could get bruising because there are multiple areas of bruising here, and by repeatedly hitting the area, you could get bruising also of similar nature.
Because you've raised that as a possible source, and doctor, could you help me by taking the exhibit down? And could I ask Mr. Lynch to give me exhibit 352, please, the original set of photographs? And doctor, could you pull that down just a bit? You had mentioned in looking at the contusion to the scalp, the right side of Nicole Brown Simpson, that one possible source was the rounded end of a knife. Is that correct?
Yes.
And also, let's see if we can do something similar by, again, we're going to try and show both B9, Your Honor, from the one board, and what is B20, if the jurors will excuse my leaning over, I can't quite see, B20 of board 352. A rounded end from the knife as one source, but you also mentioned it could be due to a fist. Is that
Yes.
correct? Now, doctor, if a fist had been used for either of these two types of injuries, blunt force trauma, would it necessarily follow that the person, let's assume it's the same person, that the person's fist would show evidence itself of injury?
Not necessary.
Why not?
Because the force is coming from the fist, which is, in this situation, this skin is being compressed by the broad surface of the skull.
This skin is
The scalp skin, B20.
We'll try and remember, doctor, to not talk on top of each other.
Okay.
Apologize to the court.
Not me, it's the court reporter.
Well, indirectly then, to the court reporter through the court.
Thank you.
All right, doctor. Go forward with your answer. I'm sorry.
The bruising to the right side of the head, if it was from a fist, you have the underlying bone here, which is a larger surface, and you would get bruising when the right side of the head is struck because the skin and soft tissues are crushed between that and the fist force, which is being applied.
The bruising to what?
To the soft tissues of the skin of the scalp on the right side of the head.
Would you expect to see bruising to the part of the fist that comes in contact with the area of the scalp?
Not necessarily.
Why not?
Because of the force involved, you may or may not see the bruising to the person's hand because you don't have the same underlying broad bony surface which you have underlying here for the tissues to be crushed.
Doctor, I want you to assume, for the sake of argument, that it was a human fist rather than the rounded or smooth end of a knife. But the fist was a hand wearing a glove, so that it was a gloved fist rather than a closed, bare fist. Would that have any impact, that's probably a poor choice of word, would that have any effect, in your opinion, on whether the fist itself would show evidence of having struck the head.
Then it goes to the type of glove.
Call roll.
You may answer the question, Doctor.
The glove would be a buffer for the hand or the fist which is causing the injury. So there'll be less, less probability of the fist ever having any injury perceived on the skin surface.
How does the glove acting as a buffer prevent injury being seen to the fist that has come in contact with the area of the scalp where the contusion is seen in B20?
Because you have the layers of the glove itself which act like a cushion to the skin surface of the fist.
Doctor, would the same apply to this issue on B9 if a fist had been used to be the source for that blunt force trauma?
Yes,
Now, you said, as I recall your testimony a moment or so ago, that it would require more than one blow from a fist to create the modeled contusion that you see in B9. Is that correct?
yes.
Why, in your opinion, would it require more than one?
Because of the multiple small contusions you have here, because of you're talking about a closed fist, to have these multiple contusions, I would expect for that to happen, more than one blow to have been struck on that area, if it was a fist which caused that.
Would it be accurate to say that the largest area of the body of Nicole Brown Simpson, which is going to have impact, will be dictated by the largest area of the fist, which comes in direct contact with that body?
That is correct.
So if it's a small area of the fist that comes in contact, the area that will show blunt force trauma will correspondingly be small?
That also would be a fair statement.
And is there such a thing as a glancing blow?
Yes.
What is a glancing blow?
A glancing blow is one where let's assume the fist was being used to deliver the blow. The entire fist does not impact the area being struck. Only a portion of the fist hits the area being struck. So that would be something like a glancing impact. And you see that you can see that sometimes in street fighting or boxing, where the entire blow doesn't go to the person, just a small portion goes to the other person in the fight because the head moves or the person withdraws, so the fist doesn't deliver the entire impact it was intended to deliver.
Doctor, if a glancing blow is involved, can a glancing blow nevertheless leave evidence of blunt force trauma to the body where contact is in fact made?
Yes.
If it is a glancing blow, does that have some effect on the probability that the fist itself will show evidence of having made such contact?
It may or may not show, because as I told earlier, when I discussed the scalp contusion and also this area of injury, you may not see injury on the fist, and it doesn't mean that it didn't cause the injury. But sometimes you may see some bruising also.
If it's a glancing blow, in the concept of the laws of physics, is the force that's being transmitted a lesser force than the force that is transmitted if the blow is a direct blow?
That would be also a fair statement.
And if the force is less, does that affect the likelihood that the fist will show evidence of the blow?
That is correct also. The fist would show, there's less chance the fist to show injury.
And if the glove is over the fist when all of this is taking place, does that act as an additional basis, as it's used as a cushion, to lessen the likelihood that any evidence would be seen on the fist that the fist had come in contact with the body of another person?
Yes.
Doctor, is there anything else about the blunt force trauma in B9 or the B20 contusion area involving this possible source as a fist?
No.
If Mr. Lynch could take 352 back. Now, doctor, are there more sources that you consider possibilities than a fist or a shod foot for the mottled contusion in B9?
It could be multiple blunt force from the base of the knife, as we discussed, the rounded part of the knife. Somebody was jabbing at the right lower back. That could be another source.
And for the record, Your Honor, Dr. Lakshmanan, as he was saying those words, first with his left hand making multiple sweeping motions, thank you, and with his right hand to a much lesser degree, something similar on the right side. Now, doctor, anything further about that area of model contusion before we discuss in a little more detail the other area that you described of your findings in B9?
No.
And we'll go, when we complete the photo itself, back to the protocol and so forth. Tell us more about this dress impression.
This dress impression is located about 2 inches above this mottled bruising, and it measures 2¼ inches in the side-to-side axis of the photograph, and it is a dress impression.
Is this something, in your opinion, I'll withdraw the question, are you able to determine from its appearance when, in relationship to the death of Nicole Brown Simpson, that impression was made?
I can't determine that
Why not?
because there's no reaction to this dress impression. It's just an impression of the skin, and I can't tell whether it happened before death or after death.
Is your inability to make that determination of any significance on any of the big-ticket issues?
No.
And this was another area that was evaluated by Dr. Vail, Dr. Anselmo, and Mr. Dowell, is that correct? In his addendum.
No.
Each of those a mistake?
Yes.
Singularly or altogether? Are these mistakes of any significance on the issues we've already outlined many
No.
times?
No.
For the same reasons that you gave with respect to the same failures concerning the mottled contusion?
Yes.
Anything further before we go to the reports from Dr. Vail, Dr. Anselmo, and Mr. Dowell?
Nothing else.
Will we switch positions then, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we're putting up again 10B, our Board 10B from Exhibit 349. Doctor, I'm sorry you don't get to sit very long. Would you identify, again, this is the first of the two odontology reports from the doctors Vail, Anselmo, and your criminalist, Mr. Dowell, is that correct?
Yes.
Can you identify for us, please, which portion of this first report deals with the dress impression area?
Photo D, mark on the right back, inferior to scapula, and the paragraph corresponds to that.
Your Honor, I'm going to outline in blue the area just identified by Dr. Lachman, and I'll write B9, and I'll write dress impression in the left-hand margin. Doctor, there is a paragraph immediately below that I've just outlined dealing with a lower back contused area. Is that area different than the area we were just looking at in B9?
No.
Is that next paragraph to reflect the contused area we were looking at?
Yes.
And what else, if anything, on this first page of the September 9th, 1994 report refers to the mottled contused area that we saw in B9?
Nothing else.
You have to keep your voice up.
Nothing else.
With the red marker. I'll outline that paragraph, and to the right I'll write B9 contused area. Doctor, there appears to be another paragraph immediately under the one I've just outlined. What does that refer to? Something that we have not discussed yet,
Yes.
and which is shown in another photograph?
Yes.
All right. Is there anything further on this first page of the September 9th, 1994 report that deals with anything seen in photograph B9?
No.
By the way, Doctor, the study based upon a review of the material listed, something called duplicate at scenes appear to be Polaroids. Were these in fact two Polaroid pictures taken by Claudine Radcliffe of the body of Nicole Brown Simpson at the scene?
Yes.
And you indicate, I think when you were first testifying, that would be standard procedure for the investigator to do?
Yes.
Is there anything on page 2 of this odontology report that refers to photograph B9's contused area or dress impression?
Yes. He requested that we obtain the clothing so he could look at it.
Thank you
And
for the
he
cheers. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Also requested 1:1 photographs, which was provided.
And for the same reason that you've already described with respect to the U-shaped abrasion, I think was in photograph B11?
Yes.
All right, if we could flip now to the September 14th, 1994 report. Is there an entry in this report from Drs. Vail, Anselmo, and Mr. Dowell concerning the findings in the areas that we've been talking about in photograph B9?
It's the first paragraph after the heading conclusions, which refers to the dress impression.
Doctor, would you please, for the record, read what the conclusion is, as indicated in this one paragraph, which I'm outlining in blue and writing B9, B-9, on the outside right margin of the page.
Regarding the injury on the right back inferior to scapula, we conclude that the markings in the area were clearly made by the slide fastener, hook, and adjacent portions of the dissident's dress. The at-scene photographs show the back of the dress.
Doctor, let me interrupt you. You must read as the words appear there. I think you used the word photographs, and the word appears to be photos.
Yes, the at-scene photos show the back of the dress twisted to the right side. There is an excellent match between the A-shaped marking and the tab or the handle of the slide fastener. Also, the hook corresponds well to the position and shape of corresponding marks on the skin. Significant areas of the dress are photographed. Also, there appears to be a pattern similar to the pattern of the tape or fabric adjacent to the slide fastener, within parenthesis, zipper, period. We think the mark was likely made post-mortem or recent ante-mortem, since the dress was off-center.
I think you added a couple of those, but other than that, Doctor, your recitation, is that an accurate recitation of the contents of that paragraph?
Yes.
Is there anything, first of all, Doctor, you reviewed
If the chat is minimized,
took them into consideration?
it won't show up.
forming any
I
opinion
must have
regarding
minimized it
what
when I
we were
started
actually
OJ,
seeing in
and I
photograph
forgot to
B9?
bring it
Yes.
back up again,
Do
but
you
thank
disagree
you.
in any way with the conclusions expressed in this report from Drs. Vail, Anselmo, and Mr. Dowell?
No.
And with that, Doctor, I believe we have two photographs still left to discuss on this Exhibit 355. One is in the middle row at the far right, which appears to be B28, and one of which appears at the top left, B5.
Yes.
Can we see if we can discuss these together and then see whatever we need to see in the way of protocols, diagrams, and the addendum? Why don't we start with B5, the upper left corner photograph? What are we looking at in that, Doctor?
It shows the photograph shows the upper back of Miss Simpson, and you can see a abrasion over the left shoulder blade area.
The abrasion that you see, do you have an opinion as to when it was received in relationship to the death of Nicole Brown Simpson?
It was an ante-mortem abrasion, so it happened before her death.
Again, from the appearance, you are able to form that opinion?
Yes.
Does this abrasion play any significant role in the cause of Nicole Brown Simpson's death?
No.
Are you able to determine the manner in which that abrasion was received?
It's a non-specific blunt force injury. Could have been from a contact with a rough surface. I can't say a particular source.
And are you able to say in any fashion the mechanism that such contact with a rough surface occurred?
It could have been an impact on a rough surface, or a rough surface just rubbing against that area.
Doctor, did Dr. Golden describe this particular abrasion in his autopsy protocol?
Yes, he did.
Did he diagram it in any of the diagram forms available?
Yes, he did.
Was there any aspect of it addressed in the addendum?
No.
In your opinion, was there any reason to?
No.
Why not?
Because it was correctly diagrammed and described.
Is there anything further that you wish to bring to our attention regarding that particular ante-mortem abrasion?
No.
Let's move then to the photograph B28.
Yes.
What are we looking at in that photograph, Doctor?
You are looking at the lower right arm and right forearm. You can see the whole right forearm. and the elbow region of Ms. Brown Simpson, the back of the elbow region, and you see an abrasion there.
Are you able to determine when, in relationship to the death of Nicole Brown Simpson, that abrasion was received?
That abrasion occurred before her death.
Again, based upon its appearance?
Yes.
Are you able to tell us the source or sources for such an abrasion?
No, it's a non-specific blunt force trauma.
In essence, would your answers regarding how that abrasion may have been obtained be the same as your answers just given on the abrasion in photograph B5?
Yes.
Did Dr. Golden address in his original protocol that abrasion in B28?
No.
Did he diagram in any of the available diagrams that abrasion seen in B28?
No.
Did he address in his addendum that abrasion seen in photograph B28?
He did.
Would you describe his failure to have a description in the protocol and to have a diagram, a diagrammatic representation of that abrasion in one of the diagram forms available, each to be mistakes by Dr. Golden?
Yes.
Singularly or collectively, do those mistakes have any
You didn't bother me.
significance
That's
to the
not a
big
bother.
picture?
That's important to
For
know.
all the same reasons?
Yes.
Before we move to the boards, is there anything further about photograph B28?
Yes. You can see the forearm, and there seems to be no injuries observed in the back of the right forearm also.
What is the significance, if any, of the absence of any apparent injuries in that area?
The same reason I gave for the paucity of defense wounds. The forearm area would be one area where the person would use to ward off any attack, and the absence of injuries would indicate also rapid incapacitation or not having the capability to resist.
Anything further with respect to B28?
No.
And perhaps we'll take the photo board down and finish up with the protocols on these two photographs. Doctor, where in the protocol is there a reference to the abrasion that you described in photograph B5?
Page 3.
Where is the reference to that?
In the paragraph 1, it's on line 8. It starts saying an abrasion over the left scapula measures 3/4 of an inch by half an inch and is reddish brown in color and appears antemortem.
Well, I hand Mr. Lynch our board 2B. I'll outline in blue that entry on page 3,
I'm not going to lie, guys.
and I'll write on the right.
This is supposed to be the part we've been waiting for, but my lord, it's hard to pay attention. It's very hard. It's very hard to pay attention to this. We needed a break. We needed a pause break to get ourselves back into the game. We have 20 more minutes for today. And this is the part we've been waiting for, sort of. Sort of. This is just the injuries. This isn't how they were caused. That's what we want to know. How they were caused and who did it. But at least now we're getting the injuries. Sort of. Kind of. They're sprinkling injuries in with a lot of other stuff that we don't care about. Yeah. But we just need to hold on and read between the lines of their talk to get to the injuries. And then soon, I hope, we're going to get some people to tell us what happened and how it happened. This would have been very interesting to know after they told us what happened and how it happened. But they did it before, so now we're just trying to hang on and piece it together when we're missing these huge pieces of the puzzle. So here's what we'll do. After the prosecution tells us what happened, how it happened, and who did it, I will go back to the beginning of the science, and we will re-listen to it, so that way we understand more this time. Yeah, no. Yeah, we do. I decided not to skip the Furman completely, um, like I was going to when he goes back up on the stand because of his. I'm joking, man. I'm not going to. I'm going to record the Furman like now within the next, probably this weekend. I'm gonna find the vulgar Furman. I'm gonna record it and bleep, bleep, mute, 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 bleep. Put a sound effect in. That way, maybe I'll flash something, a symbol on the screen, and we'll just know that that symbol is every time he said an unsavory word. That way we can watch it. That way we still get it, but we don't get it.
Side B5. Doctor, is the description given here by Dr. Golden, in your opinion, an accurate description?
Yes.
Now, on the diagram form 20, is there an entry by Dr. Golden regarding that same abrasion?
Yes.
Where is that?
It's on the right back view diagram. It's here. And he has given the measurement here, 3/4 inch by 1/2 inch, scapula abrasion, antemortem. And here he says antemortem red-brown. So all this would apply to the injury seen in B5.
And with the red marker, I'll circle that area, Doctor, on the form upper right quadrant, and I'll write B-5. I don't know if we need to move this. I think this was the easel that was not clearly visible. I don't know if there's any problem.
Why don't you proceed, and if I hear anything from the jurors, we'll...
Okay.
Sorry about the nude buttocks
Doctor, as long as we
picture,
have this
guys.
form
I'm
up,
very
I want
sorry.
to invite your attention to the other side of the diagram, which appears to show the outline of a human body looking at the front of the body. And what appears to be some kind of circle and a line going down beyond the right hand area. Are you familiar with shown in that part of the diagram?
Yes.
What is that, Doctor?
That is a notation by Dr. Golden to indicate the postmortem liver temperature puncture done by our investigator.
I think you briefly alluded to this on Friday, that a liver temperature would be taken. I think you indicated they were 82 degrees in the case of both Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. Is that an accurate recitation?
Yes.
This particular entry then is to reflect what is left after the device used to make that measurement is removed from the body?
Yes.
Is there anything else about this diagram we need to discuss?
No.
Now, you indicated, Doctor, that there was an entry in the addendum to refer to the B28 abrasion. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm putting on board 8B here. Doctor, where on the addendum do you find some reference to that abrasion from B28?
Number 3, item on page 1. It says there is a 5/8 inch by 1/4 inch abrasion on the lateral aspect or the dorsal aspect of the right elbow. The borders are irregular.
Dorsal meaning back,
Yes.
and I think you may have left out the word brown before abrasion. So
Brown, yes, brown abrasion.
I'll outline that in blue and mark B28, I believe. Let's refresh my memory. Doctor, is that an accurate description as you examined the photograph B28?
Yes. My measurement was a little different from the.
What was your measurement?
It's only a 1/16 inch. My measurement was 11/16 inch by 3/16 inch.
11/16 is 1/16 of an inch more than a 5/8 inch measurement?
Oh,
I think we may need that stipulation. I think Dr. Lashman said no.
no. 1/2 inch is 8 by 16, and my measurement is 11 by 16, which is 3/16 inch more.
No, I'm sorry. Dr. Golden had it listed as 5/8, did he not?
Yes, that he had is 5/8.
Maybe I don't need the stipulation, but I'll accept it anyway. Thank you, Mr. Shapiro.
Thank you, let's move on.
Doctor, I'm sorry. The other measurement you had was 11/16.5.
3/16.
Right, so that's 1/16 more in both respects from what Dr. Golden has listed?
Yeah, 1/16 more in the length and 1/16 less in the width.
Is that difference in measurement, in your opinion, something that can be due to the limitations of human eyes examining the same photographs?
Yes.
Is there any significance as to that difference on any issue that you've reviewed?
No.
Anything further?
No.
If we can take those down. I have this one.
Certainly.
Doctor, I want to cover another of the Form 13 reports on our board. Mr. Lynch, I'm sorry, the board number
10B.
14. Thank you, Your Honor, 10B. And if Mr. Lynch could turn that to, no, not turn, I'm sorry, flip the page to what will be a page after the second odontology report. 2 more pages to be flipped, I believe, Mr. Lynch. Doctor, I think you may be able to remain seated. I'm not sure if you can see it. Doctor, are you familiar? This is a form that is entitled Radiology Consult. Are you familiar with this particular form?
Yes.
What is this?
This is the same form but used by different consultants. This is a radiology consultant report on the case.
And in general, what is this a report of?
It is a report of the X-ray appearance of the spine specimen removed during autopsy from Nicole Brown Simpson by Dr. Golden.
Might have just a moment if Mr. Lynch would take down the other.
All right, this is 352.
It is, Your Honor. Now, Doctor, I want to invite your attention back to photograph B16. Which you previously testified about. Does this area depict something that relates to what this report, Dr. Bodger's report, is talking about?
Yes, this photograph B16, as I discussed yesterday, shows the cervical spine injury, C3 spine injury related to this large incise/stab wound to the neck. And you can see it here, I'm pointing to it. And this portion of the spine was resected and saved during the autopsy process. So that spine was examined by X-ray at a later stage, and Dr. Boger did that examination of the X-rays on November 14th, 94. A report was generated.
Doctor, is it Boger?
B-O-G-E-R, Boger.
Dr. Boger is a specialist in radiology?
Yes.
And is he basically operating in the same fashion that Dr. Vail operates for the coroner's office when Dr. Vail is practicing forensic odontology?
Yes.
So this is a report that's kept in the ordinary course of your official business?
Yes.
And Dr. Boger is expected to make this report at or near the time of the events which he is describing in the report?
Yes.
Doctor, in looking at item 1 under findings, what does Dr. Boger report?
He indicates that there is no visible metallic or other radiopaque foreign body present within the specimen.
Doctor, if the knife, which in your opinion caused this fatal major stab incise wound, had broken in any fashion, the tip or any portion of the knife had broken on contact with the third cervical spine, would you have expected a finding such as made by Dr. Boger?
No.
Why not?
If it had been broken and the tip was left in the spine, it will usually be stuck to the bone and you would see it if it was broken during that process.
And doctor, in your opinion, this was the last sharp force injury received by Nicole Brown Simpson?
Yes.
You've pointed out from looking at this board that she received 3 sharp force injuries to her head area. Is that correct?
Yes.
As shown in photographs B23, B24, and B26. Is that correct?
Yes.
Doctor, if there had been any breaking of the tip of the knife or portion of the knife blade in inflicting one or all of those sharp force injuries, would you expect the appearance of the stab wound / incise wound that is seen in B16 and B13 and the left side of it in B18 to appear as it does?
No,
Why not?
because the tip is broken, I would expect to see some kind of more irregularity to the margins than what we see in this stab wound / incise wound.
Does that serve, the absence of that, serve as some basis? You want to add something?
Yes.
The doctor's holding up a finger. He must want to add something.
Also, the internal structures were examined. The larynx, the epiglottis which was cut, the spine, they look like a clean cut, and it was studied by our criminalist also.
And when you say study, was this material that you also studied?
Yes, I looked at it, and I also asked our criminalists to look at it.
In other words, this was material that was saved at autopsy by Dr. Golden?
Yes,
And on June 22nd, 1994, was examined by you along with Drs. Wolf and Baden?
yes.
And in looking at that tissue that had been removed, what was the significance to you of the findings as to how the cutting had been done?
It was a clean cut, and that is why I opined yesterday that it was a major single incise/stab wound which caused this massive injury to the neck. And
I am
I do not-
pretty much willing to fight anybody over it right now. I'm going to fight you all over it. Tuna noodle casserole is just comfort food. It makes you feel good. Yes, spaghetti is spaghetti. And if it was my spaghetti, oh my gosh, it's so good. And none of my children will eat tuna noodle casserole. None. Zero. But it's really good. Ooh, carbonara. It's acceptable. Acceptable.
not think a broken knife could have caused such a clean injury all the way without any evidence of some kind of irregularity to the skin surface and also the deeper parts.
Okay, you know what? I really do have to change my answer because favorite pasta dish of all time, and this is for everybody. I'm sure every single person will agree. I have a pasta dish that every single person loves more than their favorite pasta dish. And that is a pasta dish that anybody else cooks for them. If you don't have to cook it, that's your favorite pasta dish of all time.
Your criminalist, Mr. Dowell, is it, to look at this material?
Yes,
And did he issue a report as well?
yes.
Now, doctor, you testified perhaps Tuesday that no x-rays were taken of any areas other than the third cervical spine area. Is that correct?
Yes, and that too, the cervical spine X-ray was only taken after the specimen was removed from the body. It was not taken when the portions of the bone were in situ.
Doctor, given the finding by Dr. Boger of no visible metallic or other radiographic foreign body in the sample or specimen x-ray, given your findings from reviewing the appearance of this major stab incised wound in the three photographs, 13, 16, and 18, given your findings from your independent review of the tissue which was removed by Dr. Golden and later examined by you, do you have an opinion as to whether the knife that was used to kill Nicole Brown Simpson broke in any fashion in the body, including the skull or any other part of the body of Nicole Brown Simpson in the course of the lethal assault?
No.
You have no opinion, or you have an opinion?
I have an opinion, yes, but it didn't break during the process.
And the basis for that is?
Basically because my opinion is this is the last wound, and I said that, and also the appearance of the other stab wounds to the left side of the neck, they all have a uniform configuration which you would get when you have a knife which is intact with an intact tip. So there are other injuries which also support that opinion.
Doctor, assuming hypothetically that the killer, using this single-edged knife that you have described in general dimensions, inflicted this last incised/stab wound to Nicole Brown Simpson after she had been incapacitated, as you previously testified, and after the murderer or killer moved away from Nicole Brown Simpson and murdered or killed Ronald Goldman, and then came back to inflict this last fatal stab incised wound, would you expect then that Mr. Goldman's autopsy findings would not show any evidence of a broken knife?
Objection as soon as that not evidence.
Or subject can answer.
Thank you, Your Honor. You may answer the question.
My answer would be that the knife would have been intact when Goldman's injuries was inflicted.
And if the knife were intact when Mr. Goldman's injuries were inflicted, would you expect to see any evidence of a broken knife in any portion of his body at autopsy?
We would have expected to see a broken knife if it had hit any skeletal structures. His wounds did fracture. We'll go into it, I'm sure. It did fracture. One skeletal structure did hit was the right seventh rib on one of the stab wounds to the chest. Let me just recall. And he had 2-3 small cuts to the head. Other than that, there was no other bony structure I recall at this time, which that knife, the knife which caused those injuries would have struck. And given your hypothetical that this last wound on Ms. Simpson occurred after Mr. Goldman was killed, I would have to opine that based on the features of this large inside stab wound, the knife was not broken.
Your Honor, I have a couple of more brief reports. I don't know what the court wants to do.
Let's take a break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the morning session. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Do not discuss this case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't conduct any deliberations until the matter has been submitted to you. Do not allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. Stand in recess until 1 p.m.
Analysis report, which I alluded to earlier, conducted by our senior criminalist, Mr. Steve Dowell, on the laryngeal specimen as well as the vertebral specimen, which he looked at.
Does Mr. Dowell specialize in any particular area of criminalistics?
Yes, he specializes in tool mark analysis and helps the department try to compare a potential tool which caused a potential mark on a bone to see whether that tool was the tool which caused that mark on a particular bone.
Approximately how long has Mr. Dowell been with the coroner's office?
At least more than a decade.
More than a decade?
Yes,
And how long has he been specializing in this area of tool mark analysis?
around the same time.
Doctor, can you summarize for us in lay terms what Mr. Dowell did and what his findings, if any, were?
He examined the both the cervical spine and the laryngeal specimen, which included the thyrohyoid area, looking at the margins of the cut to see whether there's any foreign material, to see whether there's any fibers. And he recovered some foreign material from the margins of this laryngeal specimen. He also looked at the margins to see whether it was clean cut and if it was from a sharp instrument. So that is basically his examination. And if you turn to the next page,
All right.
he did recover some material from this specimen.
Is this first page to discuss what he in fact saw in the course of any examination of the cervical vertebra?
Yes, he describes in detail the injury which we discussed earlier, giving its dimension, giving its angle, and also indicating its appearance.
Let me just, if I could have a marker, indicate that this relates, does it not, Doctor, then to these photographs B13, B16, and B18?
Yes.
And I've written that on the right margin of the first page. Anything further on the first page?
No. This is the laryngeal specimen he examined, and they recovered, he examined the margins as I mentioned earlier. It was caused by sharp force injury, and he recovered a dark colored fiber on the cut margin of the epiglottis, and he also recovered some light gray metallic material which was seen on the surfaces of the larynx. This both were recovered on October 4th, 94, and it was done with the help of LAPD criminalist.
Doctor, were those materials described in the quotation marks, dark colored fiber and light gray metallic material, both of them saved at the coroner's office?
No, we released it to the crime lab for analysis.
The crime lab being of the Los Angeles Police Department?
Yes. And then he makes a conclusion that the defects he saw in the larynx and spine are consistent with sharp force injury. And he says that if they do get a suspect tool, he'll make further comparisons of this sharp force injury.
In his discussion, in his conclusion, there is a line saying there is no, quote, specific, unquote, information in the marks to suggest a, quote, specific, unquote, configuration for the tool other than a tool that fits with constraints placed on the tool by information on other marks as described in the autopsy report. Can you summarize in lay terms what that means?
Basically, my reading of this report would be that the injury you saw in the larynx is consistent with the same sharp force injuries we saw in the rest of the report, which I've already discussed.
And then the paragraph continues, however, a, quote, general, unquote, class of tool, parentheses, S, close parentheses, can be described, and if a suspect tool is located, considerable comparison may be done between features of the suspect tool and the above material. First of all, is the material that is referred to the material that is described in items 2 and 3 under paragraph B of page 2?
Yeah. That would be one conclusion.
Was that your conclusion?
Yes.
Now, doctor, when Mr. Dowell uses the term, quote,
The other conclusion is also they could make comparison to the tool itself with regarding to the margins of the wound
and the margins of the wound,
in the larynx and in the spine.
all right. Now, doctor, with reference to Mr. Dowell's use of the term, quote, general, unquote, class of tools, does that have meaning to you with respect to any limitations placed on the forensic pathologist in identifying a specific knife on the basis of the findings made by Mr. Dowell and Dr. Bogan?
It would mean that if you have a suspect weapon, it would be, there would be other similar weapons of the same class, because any instrument which has the same sharp edge could cause similar injuries of this nature.
Is this conclusion an indication of a limitation to the ability of a forensic pathologist to identify a specific knife rather than a general class of knives such as a single-edged knife of approximate dimensions based upon the findings made by Mr. Dowell and Dr. Bogan?
Yes.
Is there anything further to be covered with Mr. Dowell's report?
No.
Doctor, while we're talking about the neck area, there's one additional form. This is Board 6B, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And Doctor, I'll ask you if you would please to step down. And let me invite your attention to the second of the 20H forms. This is the form that appears to depict the schematic of the human body with the human skeleton shown. Are you familiar in general terms with what is shown in this particular diagram?
Yes.
What is this?
This is the diagram used by Dr. Golden to document the cervical spine injury which he saw and I showed in the photograph B16 or B13. And he has diagrammed the injury to be in the C3 area, body of C3.
Keep your voice up.
Body of C3.
What is the body? What does that mean medically?
The spine is made up of different pieces of vertebra, and each vertebra has a part to it which is called the body of the vertebra, which is in the front of the vertebra, and that is what is meant by the body of the vertebra. And the wound on the spine, the body of the vertebra was 3/4 of an inch by 1/4 inch deep, and it was transverse, that is horizontally oriented. C3 is the third cervical, and he's repeated it here, body of C3. And the most, he also indicates that the spinal cord is negative. That is, the injury did not go into the spinal cord; it ended only in the spine.
For the record, Your Honor, on this form, I'll write in the blue marker B13, B16, B18. Doctor, does there appear to be something to the left as you look at the diagram, to the left of the schematic of the front of the body?
Yes.
Can you make out what that is?
I don't know if you're talking about
Yes.
we made it to something important because I wasn't paying attention because I was thinking about my chicken pot pie. Or did we make it to the end of the stream, which we have. But I can't cut the stream off if we just made it to something very important. We made it. And I see that we made it. But chicken pot pie is so good. So how did we make it? Exactly. What did we make? End the stream? Keep going because this is very important? Or are you talking about pasta? Whew. Alright guys. I'm going to end the stream here because it's been over 2 hours. I got to go to work. Blah. Chicken pot pie. I had something to tell you, but I don't remember what it is, so it doesn't matter. We will get back to Nicole's injuries tomorrow, unless we are on Ron's injuries. I don't know if we made it there yet, because I think I drifted. And it's their fault. This is a show. They're supposed to keep people in their seats. Thanks for coming out, guys. I love you so much. I'll see you all tomorrow, and I really will not be late tomorrow. I just won't go to bed if I'm worried that I won't wake up. I'll see you all. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.